guys, welcome back to the Mic'd Up Podcast. So today we have Jin. He's a photographer, videographer, and also graphic designer. And he's also a music enthusiast, so mainly his work goes into all the music industry and entertainment industry. So before we start, Jin, can you just introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, I'm Jin. I'm a photographer and video creator, and I'm also an experienced graphic designer, and I'm also a music enthusiast, so most of my work involves the music and entertainment industry. And I'm also a student. From
Actually, where are you studying?
I'm currently studying in ICT college. I'm studying marketing and advertising right now.
Right.
It's my second year.
But actually, okay, since you mentioned that, we're just going to start it off a bit of why you're doing into graphics designing, all this kind of mass comm stuff, but you're studying.
Right, yeah, that's a good question actually. Because I actually started doing all this when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like literally after UPSR.
Dude, that's early.
Yeah, that is really early because I was into YouTube, making YouTube content. So that's where I started making a YouTube channel, which it's still there, but I deleted all the old videos because they were awesome.
What channel is what niche do you go into during the time? You're like, what do you start off with? I'm just curious. You don't have to say what channel. This is what niche do you go.
It was into gaming. Yeah, back then gaming was a huge thing. Like maybe in 2010 around there. So that was the niche market I was going for. So I would learn how to make or design intros or
It's basically all the fancy
graphics
stuff you see before
yeah,
you start off.
so then that's where all these kids would come to my channel, and then they would I would make videos of the process of how I design things, and then that's where they subscribe to me because I'll be making tutorials and all. And then I also have a website where they can order stuff from me, and I'll design it for them. So yeah,
So you started off really early actually compared to most people.
Yeah, I have no idea
So
why.
since you started off really young at that one, then why was there a period of time before now you re-enter the industry kind of thing?
Right. So I think I'd say around 2016 in high school, I stopped making YouTube content because I got hooked on to gaming for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I got lazy, and then I stopped making content, but I was still active in editing, but offline editing.
Oh.
And
So as in you're still into creating, but not exactly just.
I don't publish it online.
You don't publish it
Yeah.
online.
So and then I'd say around I was the designer for my school's yearbook, so I was still active as well doing designing. But I wasn't into I have not touched a camera
In a long time.
not in a long time. I didn't even know how to use a camera back then. No, because back then when in high school
It's all taught on computer, this software editing kind of thing, right?
yeah, sort of, because back then in high school for my yearbook team, there's these photographers, and I'm yo, they're so cool. And then especially they're the ones getting the most recognition, because they're at the back there behind the scenes doing all the editing, the whole thing. And so I was I don't even understand how to use a camera, or what to know what's a nice photo. So eventually I'd say I got into music around high school. Yeah, around grade 9 or grade 8, which is I'd say form 4, form 5. Yeah, so I was into music then. So I started playing guitar as well when I was 11 years old, which I stopped. And then when I went back to high school, I met new people, and then they also play instruments and all. So then
You just formed a group.
yeah, I had some boy band for a year and all, and then that's where I picked up my instruments as well, and then that's where I got into music again. So yeah, I say my biggest influence was Ed Sheeran. Yeah,
She makes very good music.
Yes,
there is
his songwriting is top notch.
I don't feel like there's one song that is bad.
Maybe it's young, his first few ones.
Yeah, that's true.
But now it's
now every song he comes out is on point. But since you mentioned that, that was how you got into the interest of photography, right?
Not really. I'd say because he inspired me so much to the point where I'm how am I gonna meet this guy? There's no way that I can be sitting behind the computer and doing work that I can't meet him face to face. So I was what other ways were there to meet him.
These kind of people, like,
Yeah, because I was also into songwriting back then.
Ah.
Like, I wrote my own songs and it was very cringy. And then
it's okay, I did my videos last time also, it's very cringy. They all had a face.
yeah, so and then yeah, so I was thinking like I can't just be sitting there at a computer all day and like doing editing and then that won't bring me anywhere. So so I saw people. I saw on Instagram. That's where people started doing music photography, which is being like a tour photographer for like the artists and all. So I was like, what if, since like the music industry in Malaysia it's hard to succeed in the music industry in Malaysia. So I was like, what other ways were there? And then there was like through media, there was like photo, video, and then that was where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. Since I may not be able to do music for like my whole life, but I'll still be able to be in an industry where music is surrounded with. So that's how I pretty much got into photography. I sucked so bad when I took my first few photos. I technically knew how to judge what's a good and bad photo, but then it wasn't really at a great standard. Because how I would test my photography skills was to always compare myself with Instagrammers. Like I'd say early influencers was like Chris Chiu maybe. And then that's where I just looked at how he took photos. Then I tried to
emulate sort of.
Yes, and I think that's generally how you would just.
I mean, everyone when we start off, we tend to copy a bit of other people and then.
I think that's where you find your originality.
Cool. Actually, there's something that's very interesting about you that you actually shot for. Because you mentioned Ed Sheeran, you actually shot for Shawn Mendes. So how did that come along? Like, how do you get into the industry? You wanted to get that. You wanted to get it. That was your goal.
Which was okay. This is a really weird one, and it was a really random one as well. Because I only got my camera around, let's say, mid 2019. Let's say June or July, and because I was studying actually doing graphic design in Sunway University, so I had to get a camera for photography class. So I got my camera. I started taking photos, but prior to that, I was already editing. I was doing concert promo videos. So I did for Ed Sheeran, I did for Anne Marie, I did for Shawn Mendes, I did for Why Don't We. So I just did those videos and just uploaded them on Instagram, and then I just tagged whatever concert organizer, which was organizing that. So, but the things I had no experience in photography at all. So I'd say around early September, like one day before my birthday, and I was just in class, like at college, and I was just finished my morning class, and then I received a DM from a concert organizer, and then they're like, "Hi, this is blah blah blah, and we came across your work, and we would like to ask you to do concert photography." And I was like, at first when that message came in, I was like, must be like those spam users. And then I was like, wait a minute, I read it again. And I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, hi, yes, I do, question mark. So, because it was like putting
yourself out there kind of thing.
Not just that, it's because I had no portfolio at all, that's the thing. So when they were like, okay, then do you mind sending us your portfolio, mainly concert photography, then I was like, shit, I don't have anything. Exactly. So and then what I did was I compiled my photos that I went out. There's one time I went out to KL with my friends and I just took photos, and then I compiled it, and then I was just like, here's my photos. I may not have any experience, but I'm willing to learn in the process. So I just sent them that, and then it was quiet for a while, and then I'd say 1 to 2 weeks before the Shawn Mendes concert, they emailed me back saying like, hi, after discussion with our team, like, you got an opportunity to photograph at the show. And I didn't expect it to be Shawn Mendes at first, because I was either expecting it to be Why Don't We, which was later on. And I was quite surprised, and that was my first time having like a anxiety attack, I say. I still remember like being at college, suddenly my chest started aching. I was like, what the heck? That's my first time experiencing it.
Was it more like excited?
It was more of excited. It's more like a rush of adrenaline, actually. There's like so much. You're like, oh shit, you have to deliver right now because out of everyone, like there's so many photographers on Instagram back then. I mean, till now also have, but then back then I had no photos as well. But why would they? Out of everyone, they would pick me, and I had less than 50
So is
followers.
it like comparing your work with other people's work, like, and then kind of judging yourself?
Not necessarily, but more of like out of everyone they picked me, and now I have to deliver.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I don't deliver, then I blew this opportunity. Like I want me to continue doing bigger shows.
Yeah.
So actually, what was interesting was it was 2 weeks before the show. There was a local band called People Plane Pursuit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they were doing their farewell concert, and I remember just seeing it on Talita Tan's Instagram story, whereby she said she's gonna open for them. So I was like, you know what? Since I don't have any experience, why don't I just
try it out?
Yeah, like a small one, because this was at the beat at the Publica. So I went. It was like around 12 a.m. I actually saw, so I was like, I'm just gonna email the concert organizer. Yeah. So I emailed them, and then next morning they got back to me. They're like, "Hi, sure, I know you can come by our office, and then we sort things out." So I went to the office the next day, and then we spoke things out, and then I got my pass. Yeah. It was. I'd say I didn't have barrier access. So they went on the show day at the B. I could only they said I could only shoot behind the barrier, which was where the crowd stands, and the lighting there is a bit
bad.
I wouldn't say bad, but it's more of like.
It's hard for you to control, right?
Yeah, especially because I'm staying at the back of the crowd as well. So there were 3 bands. There was Lost Spaces, then Talita, and then People Plane Pursuit. Yeah. So I took photos for 3 of them. Looking back, they weren't really that great. It was horrible. Yeah. And I think the photos are still up on my Instagram, I think.
But it's a good stepping point. Like, you have to experience, you have to go through certain, then only you evaluate your work, and then only you know what's wrong with and how to improve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for Shawn Mendes, that was one of the maybe that's not the best night of my life, but I'd say
highlights.
Yeah, highlights, because it was such a great experience. Like usually if you were to attend concerts, you wouldn't really see what's going on behind the scenes. So I went there around 2 p.m. back at Seattle Arena, and then I got access into the arena early, so I get to like check around, and it was like such an insightful experience to see how things work behind the scenes and all, and to also know that you're part of the crew in a sense. Yeah, so I'd say I think I was the only photographer there, like other than Shawn Mendes' own tour photographer. Yeah, so.
Do you think that all this came like around because you were prepared when opportunity came? Like,
yeah, I'd say, that phrase whereby they say like, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. Yeah, I think I did. Like, there was like a period of time in 2019, like early 2019, I was into Gary Vee. So the culture is hustle, right? So yeah, that was what I did, and looking back, I would say it wasn't really the healthiest lifestyle for me personally. And yeah, so that was what I did. I just every single day, like after class, some of my friends would ask me to hang out at Summit Pyramid after that. So I would decline because I would just go home, get my room, and just consume all this educational content, whether it be like how to approach clients, how to get business deals, this and that. So I was just like throughout a span of like maybe 3 to 5 months of just doing that every single day, consuming content, working, and yeah, I'd say that's how I did it. And also you need to work smart as well, like you don't just create content that's not related to what you want to do. Like for example, if you want to be a fashion photographer, make sure that your portfolio is catered. Yeah, it's catered towards that. Don't take street photos and then say like, hey, I want to be a fashion photographer, Yeah. You just, if you want to find your niche, or like you want to work on your niche, make sure that your portfolio or your work is related to that industry. Yeah.
Actually, since you mentioned that, how do you know what niche do you want to go into? Like,
Right.
if I'm starting off new, how do I know what style of content do I want to put out, or what style of photography do I want to go to?
I'd say see at what you're passionate at, like your interest personally. Like for me, it was music, hence that's why I picked the music industry. Whereas if someone was into like fashion or like into urban street photography and stuff like that, then that's where they can take more of that content. But then you also have to realize that you are competing against like a few thousand of creators out there as well. So you need to really find what's your niche, or what can you provide that other creators don't provide. Like what's so special about your work compared to others.
How did you find the differentiating point? Like you said, you're a music photographer, but there are a lot of music photographers. So what was your what do you think was your differentiating point, and how do you find it?
I'd say for me, I guess it depends on the content that you do, because I do these moving pictures called parallax. So like whenever I take concert photos, or I want to do create something related to music, I'll just find a concert photo, whether it be Google or whatsoever, and then I'll just create that. I'll just edit that.
It's the effect where the whole thing moves, right?
Yeah, and then I think that's where you also find what you're recognized as for as well. But I'd say for my photos wise, I'm still constantly learning every day.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm comparing my work more towards professionals in the industry, which is like actual tour photographers. So like tour photographers such like Ed Sheeran's tour photographer, 5 Seconds of Summer, Shawn Mendes, and so much more. Yeah, so that's where I learn, instead of comparing myself to Instagram creators, I now compare my work towards the professionals. Yeah, I think that's where you'll be to up your game a bit. Yeah, so
yeah, cool. Actually, you mentioned all this. We always see the nice part of being a creative, all the flashy lights, concerts, things.
Yes.
But we all know as creatives there is a totally different side to it, which you can shed some light on.
Yeah.
What is like the reality of a creative?
I say for me back then, I was, to be honest, at the start, no one really supported me, or like no one really knew what I was doing, because I wasn't really the popular kid in school, so I was always the underdog, you can say. So I had to really.
Is it because you're doing something different than other people?
Not really. I'd say it's more of like I didn't really have like a big reputation, you know. I was like a nobody, you know. So that's where you really have to, because at the start no one's ever gonna support you. That's like the real truth, you know. No one's gonna support you because no one's gonna believe in you, and that's where you yourself have to believe in yourself and like push yourself. So at the start I was always constantly working, but it's really draining. And sometimes there are certain times where when I'm at a creative block, I would actually get mad at myself, like literally like blame myself for not being creative enough, or not being good enough, you know, to create content. So that was a really bad mindset, I'd say. Like even till today, I still do struggle with that a bit.
I mean, I think we all still do. Like you always see how we put out content. We're all okay in front of the camera, but behind when we're actually doing the things is totally different.
Yeah, because like for editors, especially on like computers, you have to like just sit there.
It's for hours on end.
Yeah, and then your back is gonna hurt after that. So, and then especially when the editing process comes in, you have to decide what you want to do, like what kind of effects you want to do, and that. So there's a lot of post-production is really challenging, let's say.
Yeah. Actually, just now you also mentioned you watch Gary Vee a lot.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something that it wasn't really the healthiest lifestyle.
Yeah, I'd say,
talk about that a bit.
Like for me, not everyone can handle that kind of lifestyle. So for me, I had that lifestyle from like May 2019 to like December 2019. And around November was when I left college and I interned at Warner Music. So when I was interning at Warner Music, I did it for myself. It wasn't related to college, so I went in there, and then my whole lifestyle there every single day was, of course, I as the intern, as interns, usually you do all the job that
they don't want to do,
or like they just have no time, they just hand out to you. That was fine, but for me was that I was so focused to the point whereby like I was affecting my own mental and physical health. Like sometimes I would like rush a week of, because they have content to post, right? So then they'll ask you to do it like maybe prior to like 1 to 2 days. For me it was like I would edit all the content prior to like a week. Like I'll cramp everything and like keep on working. Okay, like what's the next thing to do? What's the next thing to do? And I didn't really give time for myself. Like just relax.
So it was just constant work after work after work.
Yeah.
Rather than actually working on what you want and taking time to
enjoy it. I honestly didn't really enjoy the process. I was just constantly focusing on getting things done, getting things done so fast. Yeah. So it's like you are pushing yourself too hard, which I did. Yeah. Then it reached to a point whereby I had my first panic attack. Yeah. Like I was getting ready for work like one morning, let's say like early December 2019. And it's out of nowhere, my chest, the chest pain came back again. And I was like, oh shit, is this like some heart? Like, when we get symptoms, then all of us are so dumb to just bloody Google it. And then like, first thing you see is heart artery disease. And I'm like, oh shit. Attack. Yeah, so then it really, I had more and more symptoms actually. So I had this symptom which is called IBS, which is internal bowel syndrome, whereby you just get like your stomach, like that butterflies in your stomach kind of thing. Yeah, so basically it's just like that. So whenever I would get stressed, it's either I'll get a chest ache or the IBS. And till now actually I'm still struggling with IBS. Yeah, which is it impacted me a lot lah, so I'd say. So I hustled too much. Like I literally got into like a deep depression after like not hustling constantly for like 6 months, and it was all due to the wrong reasons. Because like I mentioned earlier before, I wasn't a popular kid in school, so there were certain times when people would just take advantage of me. So, and then in my head was like, I'm just gonna prove these people wrong. But then that's a good drive, but then it's also a negative drive to drive you to like constantly work. So I was doing it all for the wrong reasons. Cause
it's like you're based on anger.
Yeah, like pleasing people, which I didn't really realize that internally, So and then, so that's when I thought, I got to shoot Shawn Mendes, I got to meet Warner Malaysia, this and that. I thought I reached the peak, but once I did that, nothing really felt different. Like, it's like, how to say? It's like you're at the top of the mountain, but no one's there with you.
Yeah.
You're just alone.
Once you reach there, now what? Like, you have nothing more to look forward.
Exactly, yeah. So that was my breaking point, I would say. So that was where I developed anxiety and depression and all. So it was a really tough time, like from, let's say, like late, like December 2019 till like last year 2020. Especially quarantine,
Yeah.
Quarantine was mad.
It's bad. But yeah, seeing how you're doing now, how did you actually overcome that period?
I'd say for me, it's like you have to let it naturally happen. Even though it's like sometimes we really don't want anxiety, but truth is, it's unavoidable. So, I mean, it's not to say that you can't, like, it'll still be in your life, but you can learn to cope with it. So, for me, I usually just let it happen whenever it comes. So, like, whenever, let's say I get it, it's either people have different remedies. Some people pray, some people meditate when they have it. For me, it's like, I just try to relax myself, so I'll take like short deep breaths, and I'll also just try to think that it's just temporary. It's not. It's like rain. Like rain, it doesn't rain forever. Yeah, it comes and goes. So for me, that's what I'll do with it, like how I cope with it.
But like, let's say, now a lot of people are talking about self-care and all this kind of things. So what do you do to like self-care for yourself? What is like your self-care?
I'd say for me, whenever I just get like bad days, usually like just go and talk with your like the people that you're the closest to. Like for me, it's like my friends, and or sometimes when I really have like something that I need to really pour it out, I'll just maybe write a song or like listen to music that relates to my situation. So that's what I'll do.
So it's more of a transfer of the energy to
Yeah.
different mediums
Yes.
rather than trying to completely just get rid of the energy itself.
Yeah, it's like some people even eat food like stress
It's a
eating.
stress relief.
Yes.
Like yesterday, I was so stressed with my work. I usually I drink latte because like it's milk, but yesterday I had like black, and I ate like 2 big biscuits of Pop Tarts. I was like,
Pop Tarts is good.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts is good.
Yeah. I feel like it's right. It's more of a transfer.
Yeah.
You need to find
Yeah.
what's the right medium for you to transfer to yours. Cool. Since you talked about anxiety,
Yeah.
and now social media is the big thing.
Yeah.
About social media anxiety.
Yes.
Well, what's your thoughts on those?
To be honest, I didn't exactly really grow up with social media. Like even like I had my first Facebook account when I was like probably 10 years old maybe. But I was only playing games like Pet Society or like Restaurant City
Yeah.
or like I don't know, those kind of games, and I wasn't really involved in like
The social aspect of things.
yes, I didn't even use Instagram back then until like I only started using Instagram actively at like maybe 2017, which is like 4 years ago. Yeah. So back then, like for me, I wasn't really constantly on my phone growing up. I didn't have a phone until when I was 14. So I would just hang out with my friends, just like play football together or like swim together, this and that, or go out together. But I wasn't really attached to social media. But recently I watched this Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma. Yeah, and it was such a great documentary. And also I just feel like nowadays, or like this current generation is like,
We're too opinion based.
yeah,
We care a lot about what other people say.
yes,
And we're always putting in our opinion regardless whether we care or not.
yeah, because it's like nowadays everyone's just on their phones, and everyone's like pleasing everyone by like all commenting on each other's posts, and it's like a whole cycle, and it's like so draining. And then it's also like just why,
There's no purpose to.
not to say no purpose, but it's like there's a better like way of seeing life,
Than through the screen kind of thing.
Yeah, like nowadays, like back then I would only, this is out of context, but back then it's like I would only talk to people that I know who are like in the industry or like can get me to places, and that's like a really bad mindset lah, So nowadays it's like I don't judge people for what they do for a living, but sometimes like when I meet new people, like my friends or friends, and I'll just like sit down, just talk to them, and like just have a genuine human to human conversation, instead of like I don't go to people like, yo, what's your Instagram, this and that, because
You want a deeper connection, like
Yeah,
you
like-
really
like-
talk to the person.
yeah, it's like, because I do have people who just come to me like, yo, what's your Instagram, like, don't you want to like get to know me first, before like asking me for Instagram. Yeah, so I'd say human connection is important now. Yeah. Physical human connection over like online.
Okay, but you're in a creative space and social media is a big part
Yes, that's like I have to use social media. That's the thing. I'd say it's more of the way that how I perceive it, because I still do struggle with like sometimes I whenever I create some like edit my photos or edit videos, I'm like, will people like this? How many likes do I get? This and that. But then nowadays I'm just trying to like, just fuck it. I'm just gonna do whatever shit I like. Like if I like this content, I just upload it. Like I don't care because I like it. Like because now I've learned to accept that everyone, especially on art, like everyone has their own perspectives on art. Like some people like, oh I love this artist instead. Anyway, nah, that's like I don't like that. So I even have friends who come to me like, yo, I don't like this photo. I'm like, alright, sure, that's your
Sure.
opinion. Yeah, I'm like, cool, bro. Yeah, so but not in a bad way. It's not like
It's like I understand you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, that's why.
Kind of
So I'd say for social media for me right now, I'd say social media breaks are good, because sometimes sometimes first thing in the morning you wake up, check your phone, get on Instagram, this and that, check everyone's stories, and then
Like you're feeding yourself all this.
yes, and it's like some sort of
It's not a good routine kind of thing.
yes, yeah. So there was a period of time last year where I just like got off social media, especially Instagram. Yeah. So I just got off it. I only used YouTube back then because YouTube has good content.
Yeah.
So I would use Instagram for like a few, like 3 months, and then when I come back on, I realized that I didn't really have the habit of double tapping on every post that you scroll. I'm not sure it's just me, but everyone always like, you have like the habit of just double tapping as you scroll. Like right now, it's I don't have the tendency to double tap anymore. Yeah, so I think that's like a
I think it's come to a point where there's so much information that you just
yes, yeah, like
information overload.
yeah, because there's like truth is not everyone is really interested in what your life is going on about. Because I'm pretty sure everyone is like
Has
even
their own
me.
things to do.
And also everyone's just insecure about themselves. I know like some people we just wanna post things the good sides of our lives just to show to other people that how great our life is going, but then in reality we are
It's
all
probably not
experiencing
bad,
like bad days and also I think it's just like a whole cycle, and you just have to learn how to not be involved in the cycle. Yeah, because I do have friends who are like social media addicted, but then it's not to say that I'm like nah fuck you man, I don't want to be your friend. It's that I still do like I still do keep in touch with them, but it's more of like just like whenever I'm with them I try to not bring in anything about social media.
Okay.
Yeah, just have like the genuine friendship talk lah. Yeah.
How do you maintain the balance between? Because no matter how we're in the creative industry, that definitely we're going to be touching on a lot of
Yes.
social media. How do you maintain the balance of that?
I'd say find something physical that you can do. Like
Anything that's off the screen.
not necessarily off the screen, but more of like that rarely involves on the screen. So like for me, I would play my guitar, or like just go out with friends, which we can't now. Yeah, because the cases are mad. But I would say find something like read a book, or just something that doesn't involve you going on social media, having to
So
interact.
basically, it's more of getting off social media rather than
Yeah.
getting off the phone itself.
Yeah, because truth is, we are not to the point whereby we can just dump our phones, because we still have people that we need to
You still can
communicate with.
connect with people.
Yeah. Unless you're like a big star, Ed Sheeran, they
Then people
just
do it for you.
ditch the phone, just use an iPad through emails only. So for me, it's like I just find something physical or like your self alone time, what you want to do yourself. Like I wouldn't say music. I would say listening to music is also one of them,
Yeah.
because you're not technically connected to social media.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just spending time for yourself also.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Since we're talking about this, I personally think that creatives are criminally underpaid. One.
Yes. Yeah.
And second, people expect us to be like an AI. Whatever you tell us, we can 100% recreate.
Yeah.
As if we're robots, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What would you see? What would you say to that?
Because I just say that actually I think generally in South, like in our country especially, like many people undervalue art, like just art, like
Art
this
itself.
isn't necessarily photos, like even like traditional art, it's people think just because it doesn't contribute much to society, then that's why they see it as
There's not much value to it.
yeah. I remember there's this Singapore article whereby like what job was it that was like non-essential. I think it was like graphic design or some shit like that.
I don't ever see that.
But it was just really controversial whereby like creatives are, because it's not exactly as easy as like coming up with the idea and then making the idea happen. It takes time and effort and precision to like make sure you get the right kind of look that you want for this, I don't know, photo or video or whatsoever. And then people think like, oh, it's like simple taking photo, just snap click done, but it's way more than that, because there were certain jobs where I haven't been paid, and but then I still do the job because I personally enjoy it. Yeah, but doesn't mean you should always constantly say yes to everyone. There's a limit whereby you need to learn to say no sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, creatives especially once you get into corporate,
Yeah.
like how you say with Warner Bros is they expect a certain thing of you.
Not necessary, but there is a standard quality that you have to deliver, which I'm fine with that. But I think it's more of how you organize or like how you do your work. Yeah, like for me back then, I would constantly do projects that are prior to 1 week. Like even though I can just do it prior to 1 to 2 days, but I just decided to like, just cramp it all within 1 day and like, do the next few weeks of work within a day, and that's not really healthy. Like, you know, like you need to understand that you are human and like creatives are not robots. You know.
Yeah.
We are human.
We're human. We need to spend time with family. We need to do other things also.
Yeah.
It's not an input output kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's where you need to learn to just find that balance in the middle. And also like I think so many creatives have this certain outlook, like they give this certain kind of creative culture on like Instagram, like you know, like having to show like what work I'm doing today, this and that. Then like maybe posting some, I don't know, like those,
I'm doing this project now, I'm doing that project.
no, then the captions be like, I don't know, like those like really motivational kind of quotes, like oh shit, yeah, I'm gonna do what he's doing right now. Then it's like a constant, it's like a cycle again, you know, like everyone's trying to constantly show what's so interesting about their lives. And then
I think creatives, we will come to a point where last time it's about showcasing your art.
Yeah.
Until now it's come to a point where it's more of showcasing how nice your life is.
Yeah.
Like how nice the picture is. Like probably a not so nice house or studio. They make it look like it's damn nice. And
I'd say that's art lah, which I think is kind of fine, but it's more of like how creatives, the creative culture as a creator, like everyone shows that you have to constantly hustle, you know, work, this and that, and like I think that's definitely a better approach to that lah. Like you don't necessarily have to always constantly be like the tough guy, you know. Like it's fine to sometimes just take a break for yourself. I think that's where honesty comes out. Like certain people, like how vulnerable they're willing to show to like the public, you know. Because even for me, I still struggle with anxiety, so I'm not afraid to say that, because especially on social media, we want to keep a reputation whereby we are this man or this like woman.
it's like perfect kind of
like we are independent, you know, this and that. But then I guess it's fine to show people your
vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Because we're all human.
Yeah, that's true. We're all imperfect, right? Yep. Alright, so is there any like last advice or tips? Okay, because we started off this as how do you get into the creative industry? So, are there any tips for anyone who's probably like around your age, when you were starting off at age like 16, 17, but want to get started in the creative industry? Are there?
I'd say I have a lot of friends that sometimes they will just come to me and like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life. You know, I'm like 17, 18, and I'm seeing like all these other people online, you know, achieving so much at a young age, this and that. I'd say like don't give in to that lah. Like, because to be honest, now I don't even know how to drive. Like I'm at 20 and I don't know how to drive, you know. And like
it's okay, don't need to drive anywhere right now. It's just
I used to grab a lot lah. So it's like I always see myself. Then like sometimes my mom just tell me, oh, you know, like look at your friends, you know, they can drive, and like you're like 20 and you can't drive yet. But then it's like
stop comparing with other people, right?
Yeah, because everyone has their own timing in their life, you know. Like just because like I have friends who just come to me saying like, you know, I envy you, like, what you can do, this and that. But then I'm like, you know, everyone has their own timing, you know. Just because you may not get what I've done at my age doesn't mean that you won't be able to get it done. You like maybe one day
just
like
not there yet.
Yeah, just not there yet, or maybe it's still within at the beginning, you know. So, and also you don't have to live like you don't need to have you don't need the world to live like a you don't need the whole world to support you in life. You just need a few people that you trust.
Yeah.
And I think living a simple life is also one of the keys.
Like you don't need to have so many friends or
Yeah, I
You
mean
need-
it's good to socialize, but it's not to say that you are close friends with the whole world, you know. Like
you need some people that you know you can trust and you can go to in times of need kind of thing.
yeah, something like that.
Alright. Cool.
And
So
also like trust in the process.
yes.
Yeah,
I was gonna
yeah, cause like many of us sometimes whatever work we doesn't relate to like creative work or whatsoever, like any work that we do, like you always constantly focus too much on getting it done rather than like, just
then we
enjoying.
rush through.
Yeah, so I think even me, I still struggle with that. You know, like I still get anxious. I'm like shit. You know, I'm gonna get this done. I need to get this done. But then I didn't really sit down and like properly just flow and like just do things in my time. But also make sure that you deliver the thing.
I think it's
within
not
the
just
deadline.
only trust the process but enjoy the process.
Yeah, exactly. So
So I guess that's about it. Is there anything else you wanna
I'd also say know your worth as a human. Like know your worth as yourself. Like don't be a human pleaser. Don't keep saying yes to everyone unless you really know that. Unless you're willing to sacrifice certain things, you know. Because as a creative, you really sometimes you just have to work for free.
Yeah.
You know, because that's why people will be able to see whether are you trustable or not. Is your work trustable or not? So some of my shows like my concert shows I've done, most of them are always free. I don't think I've been paid to do one yet. Yeah. So, but it's still more of like it's me just showing my passion for music photography.
eventually people will see how much your work.
Yeah, then that's where they're like, okay, you know, like since we see you like you're really passionate and you're really serious about this, like that's where we're willing to invest in you. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Cool. That was a really insightful session.
Yeah.
it went really serious.
Yes.
Halfway through.
Yeah, but I think that's the one topic that not many people on social media will talk about. Like
we don't see the other side.
yeah, everyone's like good vibes and that. I'm like, you just gotta just stop at times and just like view things from a bigger perspective.
Yeah, cool. Alright, so thank you so much for willing to come to this podcast.
Thank you
to
for
share.
having me. Yeah.
This is something that we all as creatives, or not only as creatives, anyone would probably have been through. And hopefully this helps you and lets you know you're not alone in this kind of thing. And really you need to find someone to support you, have your support system kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah. So before we end, do you want to say anything? Last sentence or what?
Last sentence.
Or quote that you like.
A quote. Ah, shit. Yeah, I know. I remember one.
We're gonna end this on a lighter note, man, guys.
Yeah, okay, so I have this one. This was like literally my high school yearbook quote. Yeah, so the quote goes, if you try to be one of the cool kids in class, you'll end up being very boring. So just be yourself. Yeah, that's the norm. Every campaign that every corporate company does, you'll be yourself. Like find yourself. Like how do you even know if like you're yourself? You know, so like just be yourself. As in like you don't have to do things just to blend with people. Like even for me in high school, like I wasn't a popular kid, but I didn't really change certain things of myself just to fit in with certain people, because that you will definitely find a group of your own. Yeah. And honestly speaking, if I were to like follow what was cool back then, I don't think I would be where I am.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So right. Yeah, be yourself, and because there's only
one you.
Yeah. Not one you, but one the time.
No. I haven't been there in so long, man.
Yeah. But yeah, and the quotes were actually straight up. Yeah. My bucket list, one of my bucket lists is like meet him one day and just like thank him. Yeah. Music impacts people, man.
Yeah, definitely.
You never know how much like they can mean to you. Yeah.
Cool. So we reached the end of the podcast, right? Right?
Yes.
I don't know, man. Yeah, so we reached the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, just check out social links down below. If you want to know more about your work, you can always check out his profile.
I'm currently working on music, I'd say. Yeah, music something I'm tapping into now, so.
Right, cool. Stay awesome, stay safe, stay home. And see you
Yes.
guys in the next one.